I proclaim on this rainy day that we stop the gun violence. No truer words have ever been spoken. Please stop the gun violence. Put down the guns, pick up books. By Kyle Holbrook, 2021. Shout out to the artist Kyle Holbrook for this beautiful piece of art with a beautiful message. What's going on, good people? This your boy P9, and I'm reporting live from downtown Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida is the county seat of Duval County, and it is also the largest city in Florida in terms of population, and also the largest, get this, it's the largest city in the United States in terms of total land area. So Jacksonville is a massive city, not far from the Atlantic Ocean in the northeastern portion of Florida. And I'm over here now at the corner of Main and Duval Street. And this building right here to my left is the Jacksonville Public Library in the cream colored brick. So I'm right here now at the core of downtown Jacksonville. And it's a little breeze in the air. There's actually thunderstorms in the forecast. It's expected to come within the next couple of hours or so. So I'm gonna try to get as much footage as I possibly can in Jacksonville. It is now 4:15 in the afternoon. As I approach Monroe Street, I'm now walking down Main Street. So one of the biggest reasons why Jacksonville is the most populous city in Florida is due in large part because Jacksonville itself is the the county seat of Duval County. But what ended up happening is that Jacksonville and Duval County consolidated into one government, basically. So with that city county consolidation, Jacksonville pretty much took on the population of the rest of the county. And so when you think about it, Jacksonville already had, you know, if Jacksonville already has 900,000 some odd people living in it, and the rest of Duval County has about 1 million people, that's basically close to 2 million people that you have living in Jacksonville when you take into consideration the consolidation of city and county. There goes the Wells Fargo skyscraper. It's probably one of the most visible buildings in the downtown Jacksonville skyline. Now heading down Forsyth Street. I'm approaching Bay Street. Now Jacksonville is situated on the St. Johns River. So there's two banks. There's the North Bank and the South Bank. Downtown is located in the north bank of the St. Johns River. Now, right over here, what I'm approaching is called the Alsop Bridge. And the Alsop Bridge crosses the St. Johns River over Highway 90. So there goes that building right there I was mentioning, that Wells Fargo Tower. Now, not only does John Alsop Bridge function as a motorist bridge, it also functions as a pedestrian bridge as well. They do have a walkway for those who want to get to the Southbank on foot. But here it is, the John T. Alsop Bridge. Now, before we get closer to the bridge, which has a clearance of 16 feet, I want to point out that this particular area, I'm gonna go down there a little later on that area, but where this construction is going on right now, this used to be the site of the Jacksonville Landing. Now, for those who've ever been to Jacksonville or have some familiarity with Jacksonville, whether you're a native or whether you have visited before, everybody knows that Jacksonville Landing was the spot. It was the place to be if you come visit Jacksonville. It's where a lot of people come together or came together, and it was a lot to do. You know, they'll have like events going on pretty much throughout the course of the year. They have Christmas events. You can come to the landing and go skating, and it was a place. You could go shopping, you can eat, and you can just pretty much just relax and just basically enjoy the riverfront view. It was like a riverfront shopping center or entertainment center, if you will. So Jacksonville Landing no longer is there. I can't remember if it was 2017 or 2018, because it's been so long since I've been to Jacksonville. Me and my lady friend came a couple of times to the Jacksonville Landing, and we enjoyed ourselves a couple of times we came, but I just can't remember exactly when it was, if it was 2017 or 2018 when they fully demolished Jacksonville Landing. But there it is. And you could also catch a water taxi to the other bank of the river. So I always thought that was cool. But I'm gonna keep on walking. Now believe me, if the landing was still up, that would be like one of my top suggestions. If I were to suggest anywhere to go in Jacksonville to hang out, that would be like the #1 suggestion. I'm actually, this is my first time coming to downtown Jacksonville ever since it's been demolished, so it actually, there's like an emotional, it's like an emotional time right now for myself, you know. A lot of good memories for the couple of times that I've been there. I mean, I'm not from Jacksonville, so it wouldn't have the same effect on me as it would for a local or native, but it's all good. About a few weeks back, I visited Cincinnati, and I chickened out when I was gonna walk across the Rolling Bridge across the Ohio River. I chickened out, walked a couple of feet, and walked back. But see, Rolling Bridge's span is much longer than the Alsop Bridge's span. As we're approaching the South Bank of the St. John's, I think I see a couple of water taxis out there. Yeah, I see a couple of water taxis over there. There goes a DoubleTree Hotel. There's an Ameris Bank Tower right there. And connected to the DoubleTree Hotel is probably one of the most expensive restaurants known to mankind, Ruth Chris. There's a collection of buildings over here as well that face the riverfront. Now, real quick, just a little history on Jacksonville. It was originally inhabited by I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, the Timucua and the Mocama Indian tribe, Native American tribes. We're talking going far back into the 1500s. Then as far as the explorers that came over here, it was mainly the French. The French came to Jacksonville and took over the land from the Timucuas and the Mocamas, because they had an establishment right here along the St. Johns River, as well as the area was presently downtown Jacksonville. So they inhabited all of this land right here, the Timucuas and the Tamanka people. But look at that view of the skyline of Jacksonville from the south bank of the St. Johns River. Now this is known, this fountain right here is called the Friendship Fountain. This has to be the biggest, if not one of, if not the biggest attractions of downtown Jacksonville, specifically the South Bank. So the architect and design was by a local named Taylor Hardwick. He designed and architected this fountain back in 1963. So we're talking 17,000 gallons of water per minute, 100 feet up in the air. Very peaceful, and it's relaxing because it's right here at the Riverwalk, and you can basically bring your significant other, your children, whatever, bring them out here and just listen to the natural calming sounds of the fountains. So that takes care of the South Bank side of the St. Johns River. And I'm gonna head on back to North Bank downtown, get more footage. See you across the bridge. Still on the South Bank of downtown Jacksonville, but before I get back to the North Bank, I wanted to at least get the Treaty Oak at Jesse Ball DuPont Park. So a very important part of history is included in this park. Now get a load of this. Trees have always been a vital element of the Jacksonville landscape. Oaks and pines from forests that once covered the land were cut for lumber and sent around the world. It is said that the Timucua Indians lived in awe of the great oaks. These great trees were honored as the doublet of the world tree, the cosmic tree, or the tree of light. As a sacred tree, the oak was thought to hold within its branches not only the secrets of creation and life on this earth, but also as symbol of promise and immortality. Jacksonville's tradition of maintaining trees in the urban environment began soon after the city was founded in 1822. Live oaks and palms were planted along residential streets. By the time Jacksonville became a tourist mecca following the Civil War, it was known throughout the nation for its magnificent tree-lined streets. In subsequent years, However, urban growth and development greatly reduced the number of trees along city streets and highways. In an effort to reinstate a healthy urban forest, Jacksonville citizens and its agencies began tree planting programs in 1986. So, yes, trees are very much an important part of nature, and it definitely enhances your spirituality and your oxygen the more you're around them. And yes, urban development has diminished largely the amount of trees there are, but Jacksonville, they said, hey, it's very important to maintain these trees throughout the city. It's an urban forest, much like Atlanta. Atlanta's a city of trees. But yes, can you believe this thing is 250 years old? It's still living too. It's just that it's so old that their branches are literally touching the ground. This is why this is such a landmark tree, because it's 250 years old. Wow. But this is the Treaty Oak Park. Well, the Treaty Oak at Jesse Ball DuPont Park. And again, it's on the south bank of the St. Johns River, across from downtown Jacksonville. I'm back downtown Jacksonville on the north bank. And I was, instead of walking across the bridge back across the river, I was gonna catch the Skyway across the river, but come to find out, being that this is Saturday, the Skyway does not operate on weekends unless there is a special event, such as a Jacksonville Jaguars game, perhaps. Now, for those who don't know what the Skyway is, it's a monorail that operates in downtown Jacksonville, across the city, primarily downtown. And it's similar to, I don't know how many people are familiar with the People Mover in Detroit. It's pretty much the same thing. You can catch it's an elevated monorail where it's basically a train, but it operates on one rail. They also have something similar in Las Vegas. They have a monorail in Las Vegas. So that's what Jacksonville has, something like that. It's called the Skyway. So now I'm over on Laura Street in Forsyth. And this is the Visit Jacksonville Visitor Center. It's closed today because it is the weekend. And I spotted my first sculpture. This is called the Laura's Flower, sculpted by Gus and Lena Ocampo Silva, and sponsored by Farrah and Farrah Cultural Council of Greater Jacksonville. That sculpture is really sick. I love that design. It's very quiet in downtown Jacksonville, but there is looks like it's gonna start raining within the next hour or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and get as much footage as I can and get on to the hotel before a heavy downpour starts. But that building right there, that's called the Carling building. It was originally called the Carling Hotel. Matter of fact, let me go closer. As I make my way down Adams Street, yeah, this building right here is called the Carling. What I was just looking at, and it is an historic building that was built in 1925. It was originally a hotel, but now it serves as a residential building. It was the Carling Hotel when it first opened. So let me get a wider view of it. Yeah, that building was the Carling Hotel when it originally opened, but it changed its name to the Hotel Roosevelt years after that. But it also is where a major event, a major catastrophic event that took place in the city, it was where a fire took place in 1963. It was called the Hotel Roosevelt Fire, and the death toll was 22 people, unfortunately. So that's the dark part about that particular building. But other than that, outside of that catastrophic event, it has functioned for many years as a hotel. And that building still stands to this day and operates as a residential building. Some downtown apartments. over here at the corner of Monroe and Laura Street. Now this brings us to James Weldon Johnson Park, which is a 1.5 acre public park. Now James Weldon Johnson Park has started. It opened as Hemming Park. That's what it used to be called. And it was named Hemming Park in 1899 in honor of Civil War veteran Charles C. Hemming. And Isaiah Hart, who was also credited as the founder of Jacksonville, founded this public square in 1857. So this is one of the major parks in downtown Jacksonville. It wasn't until August 11, 2020, where the Jacksonville City Council voted to change the name of this park in honor of writer and civil rights activist and Jacksonville native James Weldon Johnson. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with the Negro spiritual, Lift Every Voice and Sing. It's a hymn whose lyrics were penned by James Weldon Johnson, to which this particular park is named after. So this marker right here highlights the Jacksonville 1901 Great Fire that took place on May 3rd, 1901 at approximately 12:30 in the afternoon. So 10 blocks northwest of this site, at a factory, there was a fire that ignited. So basically some embers had ignited sun-dried moss to be used as mattress stuffing. So it engulfed in flames, and it spread multiple blocks, and there was it was huge clouds of smoke. I mean, carbon monoxide, all that flooded the air. And unfortunately, you know, of course there were a lot of buildings, but a lot of people lost their lives because of the inhalation of carbon monoxide and the toxic fumes that were in the air as a result of the fire. So a very tragic event in the history of Jacksonville. And this right here is Jacksonville City Hall. This building right here. And this station that you see right here, this is what I was alluding to not too long ago about the Jacksonville Skyway, the monorail. This is one of their parks. It's called James Weldon Johnson Park Station. and it sits right next to the actual park in which it is named. So a lot of history in Duval County. So this building right here is the MOCA building. MOCA being an acronym for Museum of Contemporary Art. So you have this Museum of Art right here, and the city park, James Weldon Johnson Park, a skywalk station, and the city hall, all located right on this city block. I'm outside the Osborne Convention Center, where it looks like they had some type of cosplay event for anime. See a bunch of individuals out here with costumes. As a matter of fact, I probably stick out like a sore thumb because I don't have any costume on. But I was just in the area and I passed by and I happened to notice a bunch of individuals with costumes on. So I'm like, it must have been some type of cosplay event that was hosted right here at the convention center. Still outside the Osborne Convention Center, and right now I'm in the Lavilla district of Jacksonville, and this building right here is the Jacksonville Regional Transit Authorities. It's a transit center, so a bunch of buses, and also the Skyway operates over here. And outside of the convention center, as you can see right here, this is a car for the seaboard coastline. So it's a railroad company that began operation in the southeast US in 1967. And since 1971, its passenger operations have been taken over by Amtrak. I'm pretty sure you all know what Amtrak is. But during its heyday, the seaboard coastline operated in Jacksonville, and it followed the merger of Seaboard Airline Railroad and the Atlantic Coast Line Railroad. So it was a large railroad system at the time, and the Seaboard Coastline was primarily headquartered in Jacksonville. And its other headquarters was in Richmond, Virginia. And during its operation, the Seaboard Coastline operated as far as from Jacksonville southbound to Tampa and St. Petersburg, and as far northbound as to New York City. So since Amtrak has taken over operations going back to 1971, Amtrak does operate a passenger rail system, and operates a rail line called the Silver Star that actually runs from Jacksonville all the way up north across the eastern seaboard. And here's the other part of the convention center. And cross right here. And there goes that transportation center. Looks like it hasn't been up to that long, probably opened a couple years ago or so. But it's a very modern, sleek building. As I make my way down Forsyth Street, now again, this neighborhood is known as Lavilla. Lavilla used to be an independent city until 1887, when Jacksonville had acquired Lavilla as part of an annexation. And Lavilla has a history of being an historic African-American community. And the neighborhood was also affected by the Great Fire of 1901. But this used to be a black mecca of Jacksonville, as part of the many black meccas that existed in the early 20th century. As you can see, this art piece right here. It's nice. Looks like a Bunch of different colored characters. Yeah. So this is an event venue called the 927. And the artist of this abstract but really compelling art piece, I can't really tell what that is, but it was 2017. I think it's at OKUDART. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'll look it up. I love nice art pieces like that, nice murals. But yes, all these buildings right here are part of the historic Lavilla district. These buildings used to host a bevy of successful, like thriving black-owned businesses. So Lavilla is west of downtown Jacksonville. So again, it was its own city, and Lavilla itself was incorporated in the 19th century. But it was during the 20th century when it really thrived. So it was basically a suburb outside of Jacksonville, similar to how Inslee is in Birmingham. That's how Lavilla was to Jacksonville. A suburb that thrived and had its own identity. And this was basically during the, this was after the Reconstruction era. So, well, during the Reconstruction era, actually. So a lot of blacks were gaining political power. They were electing their own mayors and city councilmen, and you know, and see, Lavilla was one of the many suburbs in 1887 that were annexed into the city of Jacksonville. So Jacksonville was annexing a lot of suburbs during the late 19th century. So it was basically expanding its own landmass, you know, its own city limits. So a lot of these buildings are abandoned, of course, but many of them have murals painted on the side of them, as you can see over there. As you can see, they have some lofts right here on Davis Street. It's called Lofts at Monroe. So of course, in some parts of the city, you'll have some form of redevelopment. while some other parts of the city, there's extreme neglect. And this marker signifies Fort Hatch, and basically saying Jacksonville was an important port on the St. Johns River during the Civil War. As with many of these cities that were located on a port or on a river. In 1864, determined to prevent the city from once again falling into Confederate hands, the Union Army encircled it with temporary fortification called breastworks. So this was the site of Fort Hatch. So this is also, let's see, infantry raised in 1863 as the first Northern Union of African Americans following President Abraham Lincoln's issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation. So piggying back on Lavilla developing during the Reconstruction era, well, Abraham Lincoln played a huge part in that because of the Emancipation Proclamation, which essentially freed the slaves, and they were allowed to go and basically established quality of life for themselves and their families. Yeah, some nice artwork right here. I don't see an artist's name, but it's basically a spray painting. I guess this is the tag right there. Can't read it, but a lot of those tags were, you know, you couldn't really understand what they were. You would have to actually know the artist personally, exactly, you know, because their tag was essentially like a signature. I'm approaching Jefferson Street. So I'm Jefferson Street now, the corner of Monroe and Jefferson. Trying to find some historic buildings in the area. I'm on Monroe Street now. I think we're getting somewhere now. I'm guessing this was one of the buildings right here. This had to have been one of, because I'm on Broad Street right now. This has to be one of the buildings that was used as a, you know, as a black-owned business, one of the black-owned business in Lavilla during that time. I know this building right here is a Duval County Courthouse. This particular building right here was opened 12 years ago in 2012. Trying to see what this building is. I know they have part of the sidewalk closed off, but I believe this is a barber shop. And this is the most worshipful Union Grand Lodge, free and accepted Mason. So it's a Masonry lodge. Okay, this is what that is. But they have a barber shop right here that's currently open. As a matter of fact, established 2014. International Blades and Shears. Okay, cool. Well, here's a couple of posters of historical blacks in Jacksonville. We have Blanche May Armwood Washington, first African American woman to earn an accredited law degree in the state of Florida. national campaign speaker for the Republican Party, which black people were largely a part of during that time, the Republican Party. Campaign across the country at the request of President Warren G. Harding to gain support for anti-lynching legislation. Founder of the Tampa Urban League, helped to organize the Louisiana chapter of the NAACP. She was the founder of 5 home industrial art schools for African American women, and served as the Grand Secretary for the Order of the Eastern Star and charter member of the Rebecca Court Heroines of Jericho. So I guess these were Masons right here. One of them was named Honorary Josiah T. Walls. 1861, forced to serve the Confederacy. 1862, liberated by the Union. He enlisted with the 3rd USCT. 1868, serves as a delegate for the Florida Constitutional Convention. He was elected to the Florida State Assembly in 1868. 1869, elected to the Florida State Senate. 1872, elected as the first African American to the U.S. House of Representatives. He also served as a member of the 42nd, 43rd, and 44th U.S. Congress. In 1873, elected mayor of Gainesville. Wow, he was the mayor of Gainesville. First agricultural professor at FAMU in 1895. So this dude wore a lot of hats. Him and Miss May Armwood Washington. So this was, again, Honorary Josiah T. Walls. 2 black Masons who were huge during the Reconstruction era. And right here, you have the Honorary Joseph E. Lee, who passed the Florida bar in 1873. Jacksonville's first African-American lawyer, elected to the Florida House of Representatives, 1875. Elected to Florida Senate, 1881. 1888, appointed clerk of courts. Lee was the first elected African-American municipal court judge in the South in 1888. Served as collector of Revenue Port of Jacksonville and St. Johns County, and a member of Harmony Lodge No. 1. So this is a Mason's Lodge, Grand Lodge right here. Now this building right here, according to my research that I've done, this was a hotel. It was known as the Richmond Hotel. And again, it's right here in the heart of the Lavilla neighborhood on Broad Street. And this was built in 1909, so you could tell how old it is. It was built in 1909, 115 years ago, actually, 115 years. And it's right here at 420 North Broad Street. So the hotel closed after desegregation in 1969. So it's completely abandoned. It doesn't look like there's any occupants in it. But again, during the segregation era, aka Jim Crow, this hotel accommodated for nothing but black patrons. So it's a 3-story structure, and the only thing that you see right here, you see some shoes hanging off the railing by its shoestrings. That is the only remnant that's left of this building. So again, a lot of these buildings are abandoned, unoccupied. As I'm approaching Ashley Street, just past Church Street, I'm gonna go a little further down. Now this building right here is called the Clara White Center. Clara White Mission, nonprofit organization founded by Dr. Eartha M.M. White, who was a philanthropist, businesswoman, and humanitarian. Also during the Reconstruction era. And this building, or this foundation that is housed in this building, was founded by Miss Dr. Eartha White. So it just basically provides social services for the poor, advocates, you know, feeding the homeless, housing, job training, and employment by partnering with businesses and local community resources. Okay. Now this building right here is called the Stanton School. So all these buildings are encompass the Lavilla neighborhood. That being said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for today, but there's going to be more footage of Jacksonville tomorrow. So until then, peace. I'm here at the Jacksonville Sports Complex, and right here in the complex, one of the main stadiums, because the sports complex does have a multitude of sports stadiums that host the Jacksonville sports teams. The main one is Everbank Stadium, which is where I'm at right now. Everbank Stadium is home to the Jacksonville Jaguars of the NFL. And the Everbank Stadium has been standing since 1995. 1995 was also the inaugural season of the Jacksonville Jaguars, along with the other cat family team, the Charlotte Panthers, or the Carolina Panthers. So both the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars both came into the NFL in 1995 as expansion teams. Now, Everbank Stadium is located on the site of the old Gator Bowl Stadium, which itself was built in 1927. And as you can see, there goes the team mascot. There goes the Jaguar statue. And it was dedicated to the citizens of Jacksonville on August 18th, 1996. So this is the west side of the stadium. And throughout the course of its almost 30-year history, the Jacksonville Jaguars have had its share of successes. You know, they haven't done too bad. They've had their seasons where they had down seasons, but I remember growing up watching the Jaguars. They had a pretty good team in, I believe it was 1999, where they actually won their division. And during that time, AFC had the AFC Central Division. So they made the playoffs actually 4 years straight, which included 1999. Their first season in 95, they weren't all that good, but 96, 97, 98, 99, during that 4 year stretch, they made multiple playoff appearances. So there's that. And one of the original Jacksonville Jaguar players was a quarterback by the name of Mark Brunell. And they had a high-powered offense too. Like I remember back in '99, particularly '99, but during that 4 year stretch from '96 to '99, they had Mark Brunell. They got Fred Taylor in '98, and then you had that wide receiver duo of Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell. So if you're a true Jacksonville Jaguars, lifelong diehard Jaguars fan, you'll remember those guys. Look at that Jaguar head right there. That's dope. Here's the Jaguars Pro Shop right here. So you can come over here and get your Jaguars gear. Being that it's off season, of course, a lot of these facilities are closed, but just wanted to get some footage of the stadium. And by the way, the stadium complex is located east of downtown across the St. Johns River. Duval. Yep, this is Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium. See, the Jaguar star player as of today is their quarterback Trevor Lawrence, who absolutely killed it on the collegiate level at Clemson. And the Jaguars have a nice color scheme too. That teal and that gold and that black. I think it's like a teal or emerald green. So I'm not sure. I think this wing of the stadium might be their practice field. Hey, that's dope right there, this sculpture. Not quite sure what it is though. I think it's like a sculpture of a lady. Don't see any information about it, so I'm just gonna keep it moving. Looks like there's another stadium over here. There's a couple of them actually. This might be a ballpark though. Like a stainless steel silhouette of a baseball player. So right now I'm outside of the 121 Financial Ballpark, as you can see right here. This is the 121 Financial Ballpark. Now this ballpark was built in 2003, so 8 years after Everbank Stadium, which was at the time known as Jacksonville Municipal Stadium. This ballpark was built 8 years after that, and it is home to the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp minor league baseball team. So yes, the Jumbo Shrimp. Interesting name. But they do have a nice ballpark design. So they have like a straw hut or something of that nature on the premises. But yes, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp minor league baseball team, they play in the International League of the Minor League Baseball League, and they are a AAA affiliate of the Miami Marlins, who are a Major League Baseball professional team. So this is the part of the Jacksonville Historical Society. This is the James E. Merrill House. This was built in 1879. So they have those green shutters on the windows. Have a nice sized porch located at 319A Philip Randolph Boulevard. So you could actually get a tour of that particular building if you make an appointment, as you can see right here. I like how they have the trees with the willows in front of it. And this is the old St. Andrew's Church, which was constructed as the St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in 1887. So they have a couple of historical buildings that are surrounded by all of these sports stadiums. 121 Financial Ballpark, and right over here is the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, which is a multi-purpose arena, and they serve as the home arena for the Jacksonville Icemen. Now the Jacksonville Icemen is a minor league hockey team. They are a minor league hockey team, and their affiliate is with the Buffalo Sabres of the National Hockey League, or the NHL. So they began play in 2017 to the 2018 season. So roughly 6 seasons under their belt, the Jacksonville Icemen. And this arena also was built in 2003. So not only was 121 Financial Ballpark built in 2003. This arena was built the same year. So it was part of the Better Jacksonville plan to replace basically older stadiums that were located in the city. And this was under Mayor John Delaney. So this is just part of a way to revitalize the city. And here's a memorial outside of the stadium. Memorializes policemen who were killed in the line of duty. This memorial wall has been made possible through the generous support provided by the Finker Frankel Family Foundation. May God bless our fallen heroes and their families. Okay. RIP to all of these officers who lost their lives. They also have a sports tavern. You know, you have to have one of those in close proximity to a sports arena or a multitude of sports arenas. So in this stadium complex, again, you have the 121 Financial Ballpark, which hosts the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. You have the ViStar Memorial Stadium or Memorial Arena, which hosts the Jacksonville Icemen. And you have the Everbank Stadium, which hosts the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's the logo, by the way, for the Jumbo Shrimp. Box office. Something else I thought was pretty cool is that they have what's called a Duval County Veterans Memorial Wall. It's essentially like a little park that they have erected right in the middle of the stadium complex. As you can see, there's some seating right here. And you can see the torch right here. Duval County Veterans Memorial Wall. And this Veterans Memorial Wall just commemorates all of the soldiers who are from Duval County who served in the multiple world wars that we've had. You know, like there's World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, and the Persian Gulf War. And all of these individuals they had lost their lives in the midst of all of these conflicts that took place throughout history in America. So this was dedicated November 10th, 1995, and the Mayor John Delaney and the city council members and the Memorial Wall Committee. Construction crew out here real heavy as I'm still over here around the stadiums on Gator Bowl Drive. And this right here is called Daly's Place Amphitheater. So this amphitheater is essentially an extension to Everbank Stadium. And what I forgot to mention is that Everbank Stadium also hosts the annual Gator Bowl, which is the matchup. If you are a college football fan like myself, the Gator Bowl is an annual matchup between the Florida Gators and the Georgia Bulldogs, two intense rivals of the SEC East Division. So this area attracts a lot of fans, not a lot of you know, heavy population of people, not only for the Jaguars games but for that annual Gator Bowl event. This park right here is called the Metro Park. It is connected to, it's located in the stadium complex, and it's also located alongside the St. Johns River. So I wanted to come here because this is the first like official park that I actually got a chance to see in Jacksonville. I mean, I was at the James Weldon Johnson Park yesterday, but this particular park has more green space, more acreage, and it's actually located again right alongside the St. Johns River. You'll check that out. The gator right here. It's like a gator with a cane. I don't know if there's any subliminal messages within this particular statue, this gator sculpture. Gator walking with a cane. As you know, the Miami college football team are the Miami Hurricanes, and they call them the Canes for short. And you know, Florida Gators and the Miami Hurricanes have an in-state rivalry in sports. So maybe that could be saying something, that the Gators are walking on canes. I don't know. I just found that pretty interesting. But check out this scenery. Again, this is called Metropolitan Park. Come out here and you can just relax. Listen to the birds. You know, they have a dock right here. Have a couple of benches. Called the Cove Dock. What I like about this park is that it's in such short walking distance from either one of the athletic stadiums, whether it be VyStar, Everbank, or 121 Financial Ballpark, and also the Daly's Place Amphitheater. It's within such a striking distance from all of those. So this is a little walkway right here, and there goes a dock, and there goes a beautiful view of the skyline of Jacksonville. So I was over there yesterday on both the north and south banks. Got a chance to see both. Riverfront parks are my favorite, as I've said millions of times before. So you can get plenty of shade up in there, I'm sure, on that wooden structure, especially on the second level. Plenty of shade right here. And what I like about today is it's much sunnier. You know, you're seeing much sunnier skies than I did yesterday during my vlog in Jacksonville, where it was overcast, and at one point even started raining, and it was a heavy downpour not too long after I did my little tour of Lavilla. So beautiful morning, and looking forward to getting more footage, so stay tuned. I'm back in the Lavilla neighborhood of Jacksonville at the corner of Davis and Union Streets to get parts of Lavilla that I was unable to get yesterday. And right here in this building, is the Jacksonville Urban League, and they have a banner up outside the building that says it's celebrating its 75 years of being in existence. And right here is the historic Ritz Theater and Museum. So this is a performing arts venue that has been a staple in the Lavilla neighborhood, going all the way back to 1929. So as you can see, a blend of history and culture. So between 1929 and 2023. So in 1999, the Ritz Theater and Museum was constructed on the site of the 1929 Ritz Theater movie house in Jacksonville's historic African-American community of Lavilla, also known as the Harlem of the South. So, okay, so this theater, this particular building was constructed in 1999 on the original site of the movie house. So it was a movie theater essentially that was located right here on this site. So this is more or less a museum. And of course, in the museum there's a bunch of artifacts and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go on the other side of the theater. Some nice little collage they have out here too, symbolic of the arts. Noel Friedline, the jazz pianist and vocalist. I gotta check him out. I've never heard of him, but I'm always keeping an open mind when it comes to music, so I'm gonna check him out. I love jazz music, by the way. That's like one of my favorite genres of music. And these are nice decorations out here. The decor is really nice. And there goes the signage right here. So basically it was constructed, being that it was built in 1999, it was constructed kind of like in that similar style of how buildings were constructed back in the 1920s, 1930s, in that era. So I like how they did that. They kept the whole theme of the classic theater look. Get another view of it right here. there goes the other side of the Urban League building, the rear entrance. And here goes a marker for the Johnson brothers. James Weldon Johnson's lyrics to the song "Lift Every Voice and Sing" are now recognized as the Black national anthem. He became principal of Stanton High School in 1894 in his hometown of Jacksonville, Florida, and went on to become leader of the NAACP, a nationally celebrated poet as well as the consul to Venezuela. But Johnson was one of only two brothers. Growing up musically talented like his older brother, John Rosamond Johnson wrote the music to Lift Every Voice and Sing. See, I had no idea. He produced 2 successful Broadway operettas and founded a school in Harlem called the New York Music School Settlement for colored people in 1918. So this is courtesy of the Florida Humanities and US Highway 17 North Heritage Trail. So it was John Rosamond Johnson and James Weldon Johnson. I didn't know James Weldon Johnson had a brother who was also a singer. But again, you learn something new every day. So every time I do these vlogs, I learn something new. Over here on Edgewood Avenue, and in this neighborhood called Murray Hill. I'm in the Murray Hill neighborhood, which is in the west side of Jacksonville. And here are some apartments right here, or some lofts, not sure which one, but it's a apartment building right here in Murray Hill. Now Murray Hill is a neighborhood on the west end of Jacksonville. It used to be its own suburb, and it was incorporated in 1916, named after a neighborhood in Manhattan, New York City. But it wasn't until 1925, which was 9 years after its incorporation, Murray Hill was annexed by the city of Jacksonville. So one of the many neighborhoods in the city of Jacksonville that was annexed by Jacksonville during that time frame. And you know, a lot of these were their own incorporated cities, but Murray Hill was incorporated 1916, annexed by Jacksonville 1925, and it has basically similarities as other neighborhoods that were once their own incorporated cities. They have the main street, which in this particular instance is Edgewood Avenue. So you have a public library right here, Jacksonville Public Library, the Murray Hill branch. So a lot of these neighborhoods have their own identity separate from the city. You know, they have, you know, a lot of them have their own main streets, bars, restaurants, an array of parks. And of course, buildings with art, just like this right here. Vagabond. And that's all I see on this one. I think that might be the name of the actual piece. I'm not sure. I don't see an artist name. But they have a barber shop right here. Of course, being that it's Sunday, it's closed. They have an air-conditioned theater right here, the Murray Hill Theater, which is still open, and they host a series of events such as comedy shows, concerts. So it does give you like a small town vibe, but it's still within the city, but it's pretty much far away, a pretty good distance from the downtown area. So there's that. I'm not sure what this is. It's called the Walrus. I guess they sell like let me see. Looks like they might be a restaurant or like some type of cafe or something. I'm not sure, but it's called the Walrus. Little Mexican joint right here called Salazo. It's a shuttered business right here called the Edgewood Bakery. They have a mobile axe throwing. Never seen anything like that. So they have like a little trailer right there that has an axe throwing target on it. Shoe repair shop right here. They got a laundromat right here. The Red Sea Laundry. The Murray Hillbilly. What is that? Is that a restaurant? It looks like it might be a restaurant. Yeah, it's a restaurant. Murray Hill Hillbilly. A couple of other got a sub restaurant right here. Larry's Giant Sub, proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to sponsor your boy, P9. Nah, I'm just joking around. They got a fired up pizza. So a locally owned spot right there. And it looks like they have a Edgewood Avenue Christian Church across the street where they're currently having their morning service. And down that way is like a residential neighborhood. And there's a plaza coming up where there are a few small businesses. Which is common, especially in neighborhoods such as Murray Hill. A large array and community of small businesses. They have a lab test, flower company, a wine stop called Bernie's Wine Stop, and a cheese spot, cheese and charcuterie Greater Goods, right here in Jacksonville in the Murray Hill neighborhood. And with that in mind, I'm going to draw this vlog in Jacksonville to a close. I really enjoyed my stay here in Jacksonville. You know, the 904 Duval County, y'all was really, really good to your boy. This will not be my last visit, but this is P9 signing off from Jacksonville. So if you like this video, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and also interact with those comments. Hit that subscribe button, people. It's free. It's nothing but a click of a mouse or the tap of a screen. But that in mind, you guys, thanks again for rocking with me. And until next time, see you on the next one. Peace and have a good one.